Okay, we're getting close to Halloween, so someone threw out a unique versus match. I had to go through. I don't think I had done a Jason Michael Myers. Now, I do these ones a little bit differently since they are, there's not really great data, per se, on these sorts of characters. It's not like, oh, there's Jason, and he's pushing a car, or, he's lifting weights, or he's chasing a vehicle. They don't really have these really nice set parameters. So I'm going to use my similar concept with the comic fights. To make them different, however, I'm actually going to remove energy and versatility, because, they're not natively throwing things. Jason doesn't have I-beams. They don't have any sort of projectile attacks. So we'll look at intelligence, findability, strength, speed, durability, invulnerability, and X factor. Got to keep it odd numbers. That's what works. Then after this, I will then compare the movies, the movie franchises. So here we go. Intelligence. Jason, very single-minded, not really a lot of thought, really not very clever. He's a straightforward killer. Michael Myers, he spent a lot of time in mental institutions. Very clever individual. He also was very good when it comes to emoting and using a little bit of that fear. If you watched, there was that H2O, when he's pinned against the wall, pinned between I want to say it's a tree and a log, or it's a car and a tree, and he reaches out. He actually emotes through the mask of Jamie Lee Curtis before he gets his head cut off, but very good when it came to actually using a lot more of the direct fear. He actually would hide. So there's a lot more there. Fighting ability. This one's kind of hard because it's not like they throw punches or kicks. They're both kind of straightforward killers. But I had to think, who have I seen be a little bit more directly inventive? I will say Michael Myers appears to be a slightly better fighter. I think some of that's due he's actually had years of at least some level of physical education. So he at least seems to have a much better grasp that he actually would physically engage in combat with another individual. Strength. Yeah, Jason punched a dude's head off. That alone is a tremendous amount of strength. Speed. Yeah, this is kind of a tough one. They're not really running, but I had to look at Jason, kind of like a superpowered zombie. Michael Myers is at least human. So for speed, I will give Michael Myers the edge. He definitely appear to be a slightly faster individual. I think you could probably lightly jog and escape both of them, but it appeared at least a decent amount of speed to it. I don't want to see a bunch of comments from behind the mask, Rise to Leslie Vernon. I'm well aware of the fact that all you do is you run when they're not looking at you. Durability. It's Jason. Look what Jason's come back from. It's insane. He's shown that he has a tremendous resiliency. Shot, blown up, dragged to hell, tossed into space, cut, stabbed. You name it, he's gone through it. Invulnerability. I'm going to go with Jason on this one. If you look back at the amount of just physical abuse that he has taken, if you take a gun and you shoot Jason, he's still coming towards you. If you take a gun and you shoot Michael Myers, it's probably the end of the film. And finally, X Factor. Michael Myers has got his head cut off, and that pretty much ended his franchise. Jason's been shot, stabbed, blown up, and he keeps not coming back. So I think if these two were to get into a fight, I think Myers is going to put up a decent initial struggle, but sooner or later, he's taken on the unkillable individual that is Jason Voorhees. So here you go. Now I'm going to compare the movies. I do the movies a little bit differently, because in the past I would do male lead, special effects, female lead, villain, supporting cast, story, and the amount of money that it made. Well, the villain is the male lead, essentially. Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone point to it was Loomis, who did an amazing job being the Ishmael to Michael Myers. But I'm going to remove that and instead put in the music. The music. So here we go. Special effects. Halloween. Now I'm just looking at your main franchise. So none of the remakes. So we're looking at none from the Halloween side. We're looking at none of the Rob Zombie films. Friday the 13th franchise, no Freddy vs. Jason, no remake. So it's the 8 primary Halloween films, and it's the 10 Friday the 13th films. Special effects. You know, if you look at the early ones, not a lot in the way of blood when it came to Halloween. Just the first one. First one's very psychological. Carpenter was great at that sort of stuff. Look at Friday the 13th, Savini. That's just blood. That's just violence. That's just gore. That's tremendous special effects. Tom Savini is genius. Female lead. Sorry, it's Halloween. Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's the point of the rocket of her career. She played the textbook female in peril. Beautiful. Villain. You know, I had to compare Michael Myers and Season of the Witch. But Jason also had his mom. And I was like, I think from a villain standpoint, I like Jason more as a villain. A lot of that comes from the hockey mask is a super iconic look. Yeah, you could say the inside-out William Shatner mask painted white is a great look, but that hockey mask is a tremendous item right there. And if you think about it, you know, Jason, tremendously more popular. Supporting cast. You know, once you kind of get away from Michael Myers, Loomis, Jamie Lee Curtis, there really is not a lot of other decent supporting cast members. Now with Friday the 13th, you always had a almost constant rotation of additional characters in. And some of their supporting cast was very well known for their plot. So I have to give the supporting cast edge to Friday the 13th. I do think it had a much better job when it came to just putting the proper people in for a slasher flick and giving you just enough to make you go, oh, okay, that's the jock, he's gonna die jock way. So I think you had a slightly better feeling for a body count and just a better use of all your additional characters. Story. You know? I really appreciated the story of Halloween. You had a kid who grew up to essentially be almost like, not truly an embodiment of evil, but there's just nothing there beyond that outside. I really enjoyed that. You also have this phenomenal character performances of that sit up in the background, the cinematography worked well, and there's that little bit more of the emoting you can get from the mask. I think there's just a little bit more in the fact that they constantly kept the exact same woman, or they tried to do their best. Bringing Jamie Lee Curtis back for like Halloween H2O is what made it work. And the fact that they were able to keep a nice, consistent story. They worked with Michael Myers and a family, and it had a much better cohesion to it, except the Season of the Witch. Money. This is actually a bizarre one. I had to look at the total amount of money. Highest grossing film from the Halloween franchise, Halloween H2O, $73 million. Next highest one from that was the first one, which is $55 million. Highest grossing one out of the Friday the 13th franchise, the first one, $60 million. Total gross. Again, I'm looking at I'm removing, yes, if I were to have added Freddy vs. Jason, which made like over $100 million, it would really skew this, but that's a combination of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, so I really can't include that. So we're looking at approximately $243 million for the Halloween franchise. Again, not including the Rob Zombie films. For those 8 films. The 10 films of Friday the 13th, you're looking at $236 million. Again, I did some rounding, so, you know, there could be, like, I didn't take the actual, like, I tried to round the numbers a little bit, you know, some up, some down, just to make it, you know, as cohesive as possible. But still, that's a pretty decent distance between the two, even considering rounding errors. So that means the average Halloween film made $30.3 million, where the average Friday the 13th film 23.6. So, ironically, we're now at, once you include female lead, story, and money, they're tied up now. Now it comes down to music. If there's any doubt in anybody's mind which one of these two franchises has the better music, that's it. It's it. That little piano note, that little piano section. It's like everyone seems to know, like Toccata, like Toccata and Fugue in D minor, and the Halloween music. That's why whenever you go to any place that does a haunted house, you're probably going to hear chainsaws. You're probably going to hear that Halloween piano sequence. So music, it's Halloween. I think that's the main reason why Jason became a more popular villain. But that musical score from Halloween is just, it's epic. You know, if you want to see if it works, cue it up. I'm not going to add to this because I don't want to get hit with another, violation. Sit in a room, turn the lights off, hit that music. There's just the right amount of tempo to it. Like that little bit of the bass thrown in there. It's beautiful. So, if you're looking at the two characters, Jason versus Michael Myers, Jason owns him. He does. Sorry. If you're looking at the whole franchise as a whole, Halloween is technically a better franchise. You're looking at better female lead, better story, actually made more money. Ironically, I didn't take into account how much it cost to do them. If you want to debate that in the comments, go ahead. And of course, the musical score on Halloween is just freaking perfect.